And I must say that my guest is on the way coming. And just before he comes, I want to bring out one or two things, especially for the Camnet TV viewers. Like we've been saying, on Monday next week, we have a seminar right here at the church, and this will be the venue where Mr. Israel Campbell and our professor from Egypt will be training the trainers in the castor seed field. Remember that we want to target the whole Zambia, 10 provinces, and it's practically impossible for me and Mr. Campbell and Mr. Dr. Reda for us to move the whole Zambia. Before you know it, rain season will have come. And we are targeting this rain season, that some of you will be able to plant this wonderful, miraculous plant. By next week, on Monday, we have training session for the trainers. What do I mean? We are appealing for those of you that have got the background or qualifications in agriculture. Extension officers, you call them, or you call yourselves. And by the special grace of God, you sit down under these people. You sit down under these people and see how you are going to help Camnet TV. As a matter of fact, you are not just helping Camnet TV, but you are going to help yourself a great deal. All the people that will be coming for training in Kabwe, those that will be coming for training in Mukushi, and every town, you will be responsible. And some of the payments that people will be making for you to give them that knowledge, you will be responsible, and you will be a partaker of all the contributions or the payments that people will be making. You'll be told and how to go about it, because if we don't have knowledge, I want you to know that ignorance is expensive and it can be costly. We have told you here on National Matters with my wife that this crop, especially you Zambians, wherever you are, whatever you are doing, again I appeal by the message of God, 1 hectare. You do it properly, the Lord is going to bless you and bless your children and bless your grandchildren. Establish something. We are bringing in seed, and those of you that will be first to get it and plant, you'll be very blessed, and you thank God that you listened to this program. So on Monday next week, beginning from morning to evening to 17 hours, these professors will be training the trainers, so that you don't just see Mr. Campbell, you don't just see Professor Reda coming to Mukushi or Chipata, coming to Livingstone. We are going, by the grace of God, to dispatch all these extension officers or extension workers that are going to work with Life Brand Zambia, Camnet TV, and may God bless you. Then on Tuesday, we have the first class, and also on Wednesday, we have the second class. On Monday, it's trainers workshop. But on Tuesday and Wednesday, we are going to invite you, the Camnet TV viewers, you who have farms, you who say, Pastor, I want to grow castor and I want to understand it personally. The training that you receive from these men, I want you to know it will give you something that you never even dreamt of that you would have. Again, the venue will be here. Tomorrow, we are putting out the cost of the seed. We are putting out the cost of the training. We are putting out the cost of everything so that you know that it's a package. And like I always say with my wife, everything that we do with my wife and Camnet TV, we will never do it secretly. The government has to know where we are at. You, the Camnet TV viewers, you have to know. And every one of us, and those of you that have been saying, Pastor, when is castor seed coming? When is castor seed is coming? Well, it's here. I won't mention the details and everything. Castor seed, by the special grace of God, before you take it, on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, we will be training you. We will be training all the people that are involved in this blessing of castor. Now, let me say this. Again, by the special grace of God, I just want, this is my belief, that this December, if we have, by the grace of God, 6,000 farmers, I'm not talking about the whole nation, I'm talking about those who are ready, and your fields are ready. You could have planted the cassava, you could have planted something, but you have made the fields ready, and you are ready to plant. After the training tomorrow, next week, you'll be able to plant this seed. Now, if we have 6,000 people who are going to be the first partakers of this economical turnaround for Zambia, I want you to know something is going to happen. 6,000 people. And these 6,000 people, let's assume each one of you buy seed or you do the field for 25 hectares. Oh, that is being ambitious. Let's just bring it at 10 hectares. I know some of you are able to do more than this. So we say 6,000 farmers times 10 hectares. It will give us 60,000 hectares. Now 60,000 hectares times $25,000 per hectare, listen to this, on 6,000 farmers, Zambia would be able, by the special grace of God, bring in $1.5 billion by next year. And I know there are a lot of you doubting Thomases who say, Pastor Chiluba, what do you mean? Listen, I understand and appreciate some of you are economists. You've got 15 PhDs in economics, and you have worked for companies that are international. But let me tell you, these figures that I'm offloading to you are figures that have been well researched. They are figures that we have worked on, and I pray that if Zambians get involved in this exercise, by June next year, the economy will feel the effect of some of the people that will be paid. And this $1.5 million, let me tell you that it's going to be in the hands or in the pockets of Zambians. This is the beauty about this program we're doing on Camnet TV. And you Zambians, let me tell you something. You need to come on board. Every Zambian needs to come on board. For Castor, you must come on board, and these professors will be teaching everything about agriculture. And I want you to know that I am very excited, extremely excited. By 2023, the economy of Zambia will be on a different scale. We're going to take one of my favorite songs. I don't know whether my director can give me a song, Manasseh Blessing, Manasseh Blessing, or if my director can give me a song, even by Kings, Elona Fierweva Mayoba Mpala, and let's get that as I also welcome my guest. Give me that song, my director, and may God bless you. Just one song, and I'll be good to go. And may the Lord bless the Camnet TV viewers, wherever you are watching from. This is National Matters. And remember, you were born for greatness in a great country. And I'll forever thank Jehovah for this great nation. And I'm proudly Zambian. May God bless this great nation of Zambia.
Yelo ine batata bampala bamayo bampala elo le sawa sumina uyo bampala masomo enda ala ine liko le bigoko kashimu kwenda kwesu nangwe vindu vilipe nangwe vindu vikose kaleleza the blessing winds.
Elo Yesu afile asende le fiancé ubuchushi asenda ela noma afila mwana wangu nakupala kale. Gemini, oh, this storm is not for you.
malembe malembe Tori awete wanga ko balwafye iyelele ah yes umulilo wakula kukwete na mano walomba kukwete ne baloli di balomba kukwete ah malembe Chulangazwa Adite vya kusamba kwa balwa vye bana Etwa balwa vye Twa balwa vye Twa balwa vye Twa balwa vye Twa balwa vye Glory the producer Saliranda mochimo omwe wesu Ifya kwisa na fise twaliparwa kale Sokolea mabara ya kwale sagu konke Rebisimanga
Blessings follow me, they follow me. Blessings follow me, and they follow me. Blessings follow me, yeah.
Praise the Lord my sister
Yeah, I'm blessed.
I'm blessed
I'm blessed for life.
I'm blessed
I'm blessed for life. I'm blessed for life.
It's a concluded matter that we are blessed That's all Nafusto Bravi kako Kolonga neli toka nensansa Malembe Na pesa respect Hallelujah Amen amen Hey hallelujah Amen amen Give it hallelujah Ngafiret na yonse Tuawela na kabili MM Studios Amalumbo na bukata kuliwelesa
Welcome back, dear Camnet TV viewers, and you must know that, like Kings said, our parents out there, when you were born, the young man says, your father and your mother blessed you. And this song is very impactful, and I know that you were born for greatness. I'm so grateful. Don't forget that you are a blessing to this nation. In the studio with me, I was waiting for my guest, Mr. Lungo Bwale, is with me here. May the Lord bless you. Mr. Lungo, welcome to the program. How was your day? I know it was so busy, so that's why you came late. Yeah. I am permanently blessed and highly favored by God. You may look in that camera, Mr. Lungo, and Welcome back. Sorry about that. We have a technical challenge. However, Mr. Lungo, I was saying, please look in the camera there and tell the nation who is Mr. Lungo.
My name is Lungo Christopher, as a Christian name. My surname is Boale. Formerly worked for the government as civil servant. Then I migrated to United Kingdom for my studies and lived in the United Kingdom for quite some years. Upon that, in Bemba we say Shilungafie. Shilawera. So I came back. I've got 2 major projects that I'm working on, specifically that I undertook the calling of the president, that you get back to the land and add value to the agriculture. So I took up the initiative to contribute to the nation by setting up a company that should start producing organic fertilizer. So since 2017 up to now, I've been working on the same program. So I started by first engaging the government to show them that we needed to do a research to see the advantages and disadvantages of using organic fertilizer. So we had to, lucky enough, we applied after our invitation from one of the countries we visited, Ukraine. We wrote to the ministry, to the cabinet office. Lucky enough, the secretary to the cabinet accepted our application, so we formed a 22-man delegation. We asked for the provision of men in uniform. So through the cabinet office, we requested that we get 2 profession specialists in agriculture from Nation Service, Zambia Army.
I hope my auntie is listening. You are speaking in
Zambia Army
Yeah.
and the Air Force, as well as the Correction Service.
So you had those 3 groups?
Four, basically 4. And one representative from scientific research, who was even representing the Ministry of Agriculture. So we took the initiative of study. We went to some other groups that did not travel to Russia with me, but one of the groups traveled to Russia. After Russia, we had gone to Ukraine. We came to go to United States. They came back, the other group went to India. After India, Israel. And finally, we had to travel to Philippines. So after having looked at all these companies which normally produce organic fertilizer, we saw that most of the technology was coming from the Philippines. So we voted to go for that particular technology. We invited Dr. Luis, who is the president of that organization, to come and assist in putting up the feasibility study. After that, we also wrote a business plan and approached the financial institutions. So, of course, there has been quite a lot of engagement. Ministry of Nation Planning, because we need to tell them what we intend to do. It's the ministry which looks at most of these projects to assess whether there will be what sort of impact it would cause to the nations. So we are still in discussion with them, and we are currently also in discussion with the IDC. So that's where we are, and of course we are still in consultation, the governance consultation with our specialists from the Philippines and United Kingdom.
Well, that is Mr. Walelungo, and I must say that him and I, we come a long way. And even before he went to settle in the United Kingdom, but umutoto bashika kuno, so he had to come back here. However, I had the privilege of interviewing Dr. Louise, and I want the government officials, His Excellency the President, if you are watching, sir, and Mama Inonge Winner, and those of you that are in leadership, we are going to play the full interview with Dr. Louise. It was on Partnership of Greatness where I invited him, and before I brought him on Camnet TV, Mr. Lungo and I had some meeting at the hotel with Doctor, and what I discovered was amazing. Mr. Lungo, Dr. Louise said we can in Zambia establish the plant, isn't it? And that's what we are working on by now.
That is what we are working on. And Dr. Louise, who is Professor Louise, he, up to now, is willing to give us support throughout up to the time when we open the factory, and he is ready to assign some people to supervise our production for the next 2 years.
Like I said in my introductory remarks and on the clip, 56 years of independence, Zambia is still importing fertilizer from South Africa, from Brazil, from wherever we import. Now let me say this, you don't have to be an economist to understand that if Zambia is importing fertilizer, say for $50 million, that money is leaving our economy, isn't it, Mr. Long?
Yes, for sure.
It's leaving our economy and going to South Africa. That is called the capital flight. All these chain stores you are seeing, at all. Me as Pastor Chiluba, I'm not talking about. Some of you can get excited to get into these big names of chain stores. Ask the accountants in those chain stores. Any foreign company that comes to set up here, it's a hosepipe to siphon the money out of the economy. That money is banked. Yes, we eat the sweets. Yes, we eat the biscuits and everything that are found in those chain stores. Let me tell you something. The money goes back to the countries, and the owners of those chain stores in South Africa and Britain are the ones who enjoy, and the countries where they come from, they benefit, isn't it?
That's true.
So Zambia is just being used as a cash cow. Now, until we start doing our own thing, this fertilizer plant, if we put it here, the money that Zambia has been sending, it won't go.
For sure. Actually, let me just put it this way. Number one, growing foodstuffs using organic fertilizer. Number one, is cheaper. Number two, it helps economically, it's cheaper. And it helps the soil itself to heal. It doesn't finish the soil. Number two, the food grown by using organic fertilizer doesn't have any serious impact into human bodies. So these are the advantages that organic fertilizer has than the chemical fertilizer. You may see that some of these ailments that people are suffering, BPs, strokes, whatever, what it is, some of it, cancer, some of
coming
it
from food
stuff, because we take too much chemicals into our bodies. So hence that our fight that we need to start producing this food in a manner that the food which is produced organically. So that will give you advantage, and that will give you healthy Zambians. And we have secured a place where we intend to put this plantation. Before we arrived at where the plantation have to be, we looked at which would be the central. So we voted Kabwe as a central province to be one of the areas that would be used to store this, to put up this factory. And
Yeah.
so far, we are contemplating to buy or pay for the plantation which used to be making some products in Kabwe, and that's the place where we intend. Otherwise, if that we don't go to that, we've secured also a 900 hectares of land from one of the chief kingdoms in the central province, where we intend to put up this factory, and part of the land will be using it as a research center, so that all those people are coming to see. Say, if you want to grow maize, first of all, we have to take you to a portion where we've grown our maize using organic fertilizer. If it is beans, etc., if it all the species that we might intend to put up.
You know, Mr. Longo, before we go to this, Dr. Louise, and I pray that you are going to pay attention to what Dr. Louise said. Mr. Longo and I can discuss in detail, but we want you to hear the scientific wisdom that comes from Dr. Louise. Being in the media industry, I was privileged to welcome some people from Kenya who are into organic fertilizer. And I spoke to them on phone, and others came here. They would want to come into Zambia and set up the plant, and others are doing it at a small scale mining, at a small scale production. But my prayer to God, Mr. Longo, we must aim at the finished product. If we are going to be producing something, we have the rocks in Zambia. Let's process cement until it's packaged to finishing. Chilanga Cement, Dangote, and the Zambezi Port, whatever, they are sending the finished product. Now, it doesn't make sense to mine the copper, dig the copper, and send it for refinery or processing of that in the UK, then we buy the finished product. This is what I'm against.
No, indeed, actually, I might take a little bit on that. During my time with the government officials of our research, of course, we came across a lot of companies which sells finished products. Their first interest was to give those products to us to come and sell here. And
not to manufacture.
Not to manufacture.
They wanted
to be giving the finished product, so that this place is just a selling point. I came across one company that I might remember. It's been quite some time from United States. Those who had brought some fertilizers here, finished products, and in the process they banked them somewhere. When they saw that I was in a delegation which involved the government officials, they wanted to offer me that. I refused. I said, no, look, the principal idea is to produce products locally. And why, if you look at our feasibility study, it's a feasibility study which has been done here in Zambia, using the local raw materials. We took a trouble we started from Livingstone up to Luapula, Western Province, to see where we can tap the raw materials. The raw materials for producing fertilizers is in abundance in this country. In Zambia. So you don't need to import raw materials from anywhere else. So it is the only thing we are going to import is just the machinery, the equipment, that's it.
So once the equipment comes into Zambia, everything will be done here. The material is in Zambia.
The material is in Zambia, everything will be done locally.
Now, can you imagine, Mr. Longo, why we grow cotton, we send it to China, then they send the material. Kuno niba dera eva putula. If Zambia is going to grow, and if Africa is going to grow, we must make sure we aim at importing just the machinery and we do the things from start to finish. We package ourselves and start sending to China, start sending to Europe.
I agree with you, Pastor. I think maybe during the time I think we were still teenagers. When you look at what Dr. Kaunda had put up, Dr. Kaunda had a vision of doing that. When you get back again, if I might mention Kawe again, the Kawe, there is that Kawe, what's Mulungushi Textile.
Mulungushi Textiles.
The idea for that factory was to get the raw materials, process them there up to the finishing product and produce
the
materials. That was the idea with that. So Kaunda is an old man now. So he did what he could at that time. We are here. So why
we should emulate.
Yeah, we should emulate. So why should for instance, for myself, I've been in Europe for a long time, and I've seen what they do. In any case, we are a better country than even United Kingdom, because there is nothing in United Kingdom.
Absolutely.
Yeah? So that place is just like a rotten egg which has a shell outside, but there's nothing in there. So if you compare that country to Zambia, Zambia has the abundance materials that can be used to make money. We've got our copper, can't even talk of copper. I've got quite a lot of minerals, wood and whatever. It is just the trouble is within ourselves.
Our thinking.
Our thinking, yes.
Now, Mr. Lungo, before you proceed, I've always believed that the abundance of the material that we have from every sector, I've always believed that if we manage them properly, Zambia can move from a third world to the first world. Is that a wrong belief, or I just dream?
You are 100% correct, Pastor. If you look at, for instance, we just talk about engineers. Zambia, again, I can go back to echo Dr. Kaunda. This country had put in a lot of money to educate us. We've got a lot of engineers all over the world, trained, born and bred from Zambia. We've got a lot of teachers who are all over the country. What I can see, what's wrong in this country, is just the way the government, the policies, in terms of assisting with finance. There is one organization which they call CEC, where they give some sort of loans. CEC. Yeah. They are close. They get close. There are quite a lot of good things in this country. The idea is, you can see that there is some smoke, there is some fire here, but implementation is just what is terrible. You know, this issue they're saying of empowering Zambians. Can I drift you slightly back?
Please go ahead. Yeah.
I'm a very disappointed person. Sometimes when I come back here in Zambia from abroad, I come and find that an institution like University of Zambia, that institution itself, from the gate itself, when you are just getting at the gate, you find a school, an institution which has all engineers, all metal, whatever, they failed to make even a gate, proper gate, to enter, to enter. Just a mere gate to get there. And you see that is a school of engineers, the school of engineers, and there are people who are learning. But we can't. But you can't blame them in one or another because they might not have the facility or money. But you see, it's a way that maybe we think we don't expand in the way we do things. When you look of these roads, a lot of people blame the Chinese or there are too much Chinese and whatever. We've got qualified personnel who can put up these roads. There's nothing special about these roads Chinese are putting up. Zambians themselves can put up these roads. It's a mindset. I think, again, I might blame the government. The government hasn't sat down properly to see how they can empower their own human beings. We've got tools, we've got human beings, but we don't know how to use them. National Service, they are experts there, but you find that the roads, most of these roads which are being built by Chinese, it is a company which is just similar in the same way Zambia National Service is in China. That's the company which comes to put up these roads.
Absolutely. I just learned recently that even this cement plant, Sinoma, this cement plant, it's a government of China that have put up the plant, and all the profit that comes from there, it goes to the government of China. You know, so all these things, when you look, dear Zambians, in Bemba, Tulanda, Tichisosa, Chipamano, and when we speak like this, it's not discrediting our government, it's not discrediting anybody, it's to just, like you are saying, Mr. Lungo, that we should come to a place where our mindset changes.
Yeah.
We start thinking out of the box. Do you realize, Mr. Lungo, that even before we are talking about, we are celebrating Rwanda making VWs here, assembling. Do you realize that we were making Land Rovers?
Years back.
Fiat,
Years back.
Peugeot 504.
Years back.
Many years.
Imagine if you had continued, where could we have been? We've got Zambians who are involved in making, even designing the aircraft, the bodies of aircrafts. We've got Zambians who are involved in designing this Mercedes-Benz. One of them is my own uncle. You know, my grandfather, after my grandmother, he married a white person. They brought me up. I was partly brought by a family which was half white German and the black. We were just three of us, black people in the house in Kawe here, not somewhere far. So that gentleman Mabumba, Semba Mabumba, where he's working, is part of the company which designs engines for Mercedes-Benz in German.
He's in German.
He's in German. The mother came from Germany.
A Zambian.
He's a Zambian. He's Semba Mabumba. That's the name.
Allah.
There is Semba Chanda. There are only two as the English names. There are 7. Only 2 with English names.
So this gentleman, he comes here sometimes?
Yeah, sometimes. My auntie died very recent and they were here.
And you know that in America...
When I go to Germany, I go to their homes. We started looking for African food. When they see me, they want to cook Nshima. So,
my goodness. I think we are going far. You know, this national matters, Mr. Lungo. I pray that the Zambians that are watching, that our minds will open up. Again, I am not for the idea Year after year, you are blaming the government. Year after year, you are blaming.
No.
56 years after independence, we are still importing even tomato sauce.
In fact, instead of blaming the government, we blame presidents. No. Blame my president. No. The president find policies. So, look, there was Kaunda, people called Kaunda names. There was the Chiruba, called Chiruba names, Mwanawasa names. Whoever, Banda, my cousin, my old man,
He was called
names. They called they called him Namasa, something like that. But very, very nice man. And he, very, very nice man, and that man, his intentions were very good. Rupia Banda is one person that today you talk something, you won't find him change. I've been very close to most of these presidents, of course, except the current one, because of my being away from this country. But up to me, I haven't even seen anything wrong with him. I haven't seen anything.
You know, Mr. Lungo, let's get into this. Dear Cabinet TV viewers, we will give you the opportunity to phone, but I think listen to Dr. Ruiz from Philippines. And this man is ready to set up a plant here so that we stop ordering this fertilizer, D-compound, whatever. If it's my fertilizer, before we cross over, Mr. Lungo, you know I play golf.
Oh, yes, I do.
I play golf.
I know.
Golf Club, the way we keep it, it's very nice. I got the names of the fertilizer and the chemicals they use. Abapa Church, if you notice, I planted that nice kapinga. You just water it with water. It comes out so nicely. Now, I wanted it to be deep green and everything.
No, I just use our products.
I used that fertilizer. What I didn't know is that in the component of that fertilizer, it brings weeds, it brings other things, and you have to keep on buying those things to eliminate what you have started.
No, now what is? I think I can explain this before we even get to that. Our organic fertilizer, current the way it is, you see, because it has been developed so much, it eliminates the weed itself, and it is also resistant to drought. So even if there is no rains for 2 or 3 continuous, the plant, the space will be very live. It is so. That is how improved it is. So it eliminates, and the grasshoppers would not come and touch it.
He talked about how the Chinese, in one area, they failed to fix what the desert in China. You remember?
Yeah, yes.
When I interviewed him, and they went to Philippines and called the same Professor Ruiz to go and find the cure for the land, massive land in China. Today, that land is as green as Zambia. This same man we are about to watch is the man that is ready to help Zambia become what it is. Let's cross over, Mr. Director, to Dr. Ruiz. I interviewed him on Partnership of Greatness. May God bless the viewers. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this wonderful program, Partnership of Greatness. Like I promised the people yesterday and you, dear Cabinet viewers, I promised you that it will be a special program, and I'm so glad that you are watching this. Now, my wife is not with me in the studio, and this is because we have a special guest with us who is visiting our country, and my wife and I would have loved to be with her on the panel. But I have a guest, Dr. Eliseo Ruiz from the Philippines. Doctor, welcome
pleased
to the program and
thank you so
welcome
much.
to Zambia.
Thank you so much, Reverend. Thank you so much,
Amen.
my pastor. Yeah.
And the people there are watching, and tell them who your name is. And did I pronounce it well, Dr. Eliseo Ruiz?
You actually got it right, Pastor. It's pronounced Eliseo Ruiz. Now, actually, Eliseo is the Spanish equivalent of Elisha in the Bible.
Oh, is that so?
Yeah.
Eliseo.
Eliseo, yeah.
Okay. Now, every Zambian I find who is Elijah, I'll call them Eliseo.
Yeah. After Elijah, we have Elisha. Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
okay. Dr. Eliseo Ruiz. As Team Camnet, I know you are very interested to know who is Dr. Ruiz. I'm going to ask you, Dr. Ruiz, to look in that camera and tell the nation of Zambia, who is Dr. Ruiz? Are you married? If you are married, how many wives have you got in the Philippines? And how many children have you got? Tell the nation.
All right. Good evening, everyone. And firstly, I would like to extend my thanks, gratitude to the pastor, Reverend Chibula, for inviting me to this program. And I just came to Zambia about 2 weeks ago, on the 15th to be exact. And the main purpose of this trip is actually to assess.
We are going to talk about that.
Okay.
I will bring you to that. The camera people, the nation wants to know.
Okay.
But
now,
just tell
yes.
the nation, who is Dr. Ruiz? Are you married? Have you got children? And yeah.
Yes. Right now, I am married with one and only one wife. Because in my faith, it is prohibited to have more than one wife. And with my wife, we were blessed with 4 children who are all married and having their own families.
Oh.
And
men or women?
Actually, the eldest is a daughter, and then 3 sons. Okay, my daughter and 2 sons are now in the Philippines. The third one actually stays in Portland, Oregon, married to an American wife. And now, presently, we have 10 grandchildren.
My goodness.
Yeah, 7 boys and 3 girls. And all healthy. And the family is very active in the ministry. We belong to the Apostolic Faith Church. Our headquarters church is in Portland, Oregon. And I understand, when I Google, there are many of my Christians living now in Zambia who belongs to my church. And so I'm very, very glad to be here, and I hope that I could see some of them in the very near future.
Amen. Now, Dr. Ruiz, you said you saved as a pastor. You pastored a church in Philippines.
Yes.
And now your wife is pastoring that church?
Yes.
Tell the nation.
All right.
What you
now, when I got saved way back in 1960, then I started.
You got saved when?
In 1960.
I'm out of the studio. That's when I was born. That's when I was born. And then you became born again.
Yeah. So I just fresh from high school at the time, and then when I entered university, my first year in college, I started, distributing Christian literature, or we call them tracts. To every time I have a free time at my university, I would go around and then distributing all these tracts, and if there is time for them to listen to me, I would testify, what the Lord has done for me, how good He was, in dealing with me and all this. And luckily enough, when I was already in my 4th year, my degree, agricultural engineering, took me 5 years because it's a 5-degree course. Then in my 4th year, I found this lady who actually was also studying at the university. She was a freshman then. And I believe that God, the Lord, gave her to me to be my better half. And so I've been pastoring our church for almost a quarter of a century, 23, 24 years. And then after I resigned, because I was appointed president of my university, which is a comprehensive university in my province, I have to tender my resignation to our to our general overseer, which is the equivalent of a bishop in other churches. And then I told him that much to my I really don't want to lead the ministry, but since I was appointed president, I couldn't be holding these 2 jobs, one religious, another one secular. So I have to leave my ministerial assignment. But then my wife was eventually appointed minister to head the ministry in the Philippines, and so she is up to now our head minister, although my eldest son is now our head pastor. And then, of course, the daughter is our choir directress and a Sunday school teacher. All my sons are having, ministerial work, including some of my grandchildren who can already play musical instruments. So we're actually a family of musicians. Like an orchestra, some would be playing the piano, others would be playing the saxophone or the clarinet, flute, and viola and so on, all these things, trumpet. So we're very active in church, and I have devoted all my life actually serving the Lord for this. And the first time I set foot in Africa, that was about 3 years ago, in Kenya. So the Lord has touched my heart, and I said He wouldn't bring me to this place just for maybe touring around like a tourist, going to safaris, all these things, When I was taken in to go around Kenya at the time, and I saw the vastness, pastor of this land.
Now, tell me, Dr. Ruiz, when you first came to Kenya, you didn't come to preach. You came now as a scientist.
As a scientist, yeah.
And your wife is still pastoring?
Pastoring, yeah, up to now, yes, she is.
She's the senior pastor?
Senior pastor.
There is some doctrinal issue in some other countries
that
women can't preach. Do they allow in your country?
Well, actually, she could do once in a while, but more. Actually, as I said, my son is really the head pastor. Yeah, ladies sometimes would only be doing, choir directing. They'd be in, in music, and then also in Sunday school teaching, this and that. And
here is a problem I have, Dr. Ruiz. If your wife and yourself taught your son, and he grew up, you nurtured the man, and he became a pastor, all that knowledge came from you.
Yes.
And from your wife.
Yes.
Now you have a decent man who is a pastor.
Yes.
So if you raised your son to be a pastor, what can stop your wife from preaching? Because she's the one who raised up your son.
Well, actually, Reverend, once in a while she would preach, but she's now 72 plus years old. So in a way, and then when she contracted cancer of the breast about more than 10 years ago, and we prayed for the healing. Of course, we sought also some medical assistance in China, in Beijing, where she was treated with Eastern medicine, all herbal medicine. And so she survived this, and we really owe so much. we believe, the whole family, the whole church even believes that actually the complete healing of my wife is from above.
Amen.
Yeah, from the Lord, yes.
Because, I have problems with people who say a woman can't
Cannot
preach.
preach, yeah.
In Bible college, one of my lecturers who taught us the word was a woman.
That's right, yeah.
She was a lecturer. She drilled me in the things of God.
Yes, yes.
Now, if she taught me in Bible college
Right.
to produce a preacher like me, if she comes in the church, why should I say, no, you can't preach? The women are not allowed to preach.
No, I don't think there is, this is objectionable. I don't think women couldn't preach. I believe, because they're the same creation, as men, as we are created. In fact, women are actually supposed to be, God placed them here as helpmeets for the men, to assist. And I believe in, as you have said, Pastor, that actually my son is already a preacher from the womb of my wife, and so he grew up in church, and then of course, for some time when he was going to the university, and he had some friends actually was trying to lure him to join them, with their worldly activities. And because of the training, because of the things that we have done, try day in, day out. We've been telling our son, giving him pieces of advice that he wouldn't do that, and then so it is not difficult for us, both parents, to raise our kids, in accordance with God's word and in His will. And some, even our congregation would even sometimes would request, my wife, because she can tell them of her. She has a beautiful testimony. That's why even if she's not really actually preaching, like the way evangelists would do, Pastor, even if she's just maybe sitting on a chair, if she couldn't stand for quite some time and then try to share to others what the Lord has done for her, actually it's one way of preaching.
That's right.
It's one way of imparting to those listeners so that they can, you can bring them closer to the Lord. So I don't think women or pastors' wives would be deprived, of this opportunity, because while we can share so much, but I also know that women were not placed by God for no purpose, for no meaning. So I agree with you, Reverend, that whoever, even in fact, the Lord has even said that, don't deprive this child from coming to me, because unless we would have the same attitude as a child, we won't be able to enter heaven.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Dr. Ruiz, I want to ask, I know we'll come to the main reason why you are on CamNet TV, but I also want to seize this moment to clear certain things with you. In Philippines, there was some persecution of the churches being burnt or Christians being killed. Is that in Philippines?
No, actually, Pastor, down south in southern Philippines, there's somewhere where there's a mixture of Muslims and Christians living together.
South of
the Philippines, in Mindanao. And actually, Christians never, in the Philippines, that they started a quarrel or, as you said, the burning of churches here and there. But unfortunately, our Muslim brothers sometimes, whom I would say actually are fanatics in their faith, that actually if they are, dominating a certain area in terms of number, then they would want practically no Christian living in the area. So they drive them away. I mean, maybe start even persecuting them, burning their chapels or churches.
So
Yeah,
it's
but
the
it's
Muslims
who actually
who have been killing
who were
Christians.
influenced by as our in my place or the place ISIS inspired. And some of these Muslims actually were being trained, sent to Afghanistan, to Iran, and all these places, and then so when they go back to the country, then it start problems. Now, where I'm happy that we had this incumbent president now, that he meant business. If you cannot give us, your Christian brothers to live with you harmoniously, peacefully, and then if you would cause trouble, then I would have to call the army, to prevent this. That's why one a Muslim-dominated city, a beautiful city, because it's been, a lot of petrodollars have been poured into that city, Marawi City in Lanao del Sur. It's actually a prime city, a beautiful city in the south that's been destroyed practically to ground zero.
It's been
because
destroyed?
it's been bombed, because they wanted, our Muslim brothers wanted to really occupy it, drive all the Christians away, from the sea. But since they made, all these Christians have made this place a home for their own, had been living there for years, so the president wouldn't allow it.
So would you say that Christians don't kill the Muslims?
Yeah, no, except of course when like the army or our Philippine National Police would be tasked to provide, the security, the support. Of course, when they are at war, I mean, even Christian soldiers would,
I know that
be
because
compelled, to.
We have a challenge. We have a challenge in certain countries, like Nigeria. You see Kaduna there. Christians are killed from time to time. But Christians don't take up the arms. Now, there was a time I was receiving reports from Philippines that Christians are being killed by the Muslims and
right.
churches burning. So the now president who is there, he's taken control.
Yes, control over it. And now it's the town is being rebuilt, and the president is doing a very, very good job, revitalizing, reviving the city. And of course now a contingent or a regiment of army has been assigned there to provide, maintain peace, in the area.
How far are you from the
From that
south?
place, it will be about an hour and a half by plane.
By plane?
Yeah, it's around close to 2,500 kilometers.
My goodness.
Yeah.
Well, we are so thankful, Pastor Ruiz, Dr. Ruiz, that by the special grace of God, God has made you and your family survive. And we've been praying for you because I didn't understand that concept that is in the southern Philippines. We're just receiving reports, churches burned, Christians killed. I didn't know it was the Muslims who were behind that.
Yeah.
And what's the percentage of the Muslims to Christians?
Actually, if we take the total population, that'd be about maybe 5 to 7%. But this 5
Who are 5%?
the Muslims.
5% Muslims.
Yeah, at most 7%.
7%.
But then there are some places down south where they dominate in terms of number.
But countrywide?
Well, countrywide, yeah, about 5-7%.
About?
5 to 7%
Percent.
Muslims.
And about 93 Christians.
Christians, yeah.
And that 5%, they still cause havoc. I like that.
Well, like, what's happening in Israel, Palestine,
Yeah.
these places.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah. Well, Team Camnet, we are so grateful to the Lord, and you've heard who Dr. Ruiz is, and he's not just a doctor or a scientist, but he is a pastor. His son is a senior pastor of the church he pastored, and I was so interested. By the special grace of God, I met this man of God through my brother, Mr. Lungo, and this is partnership of greatness. Now, Dr. Ruiz, what brought you to Zambia? Now, look into that camera and tell the people. You wanted to start talking about Kenya, about whatever. Now, this is the time you can look into that camera and tell the nation, why are you in Zambia?
Thank you, Pastor. Briefly, I'd say something about my Kenyan trip, which happened about 3 years ago. And I was invited by a certain British national who actually I think was responsible for setting up the irrigation system of the country of Kenya. And at the time, he was so interested to actually, develop organic agriculture in the area. So he did a lot of test research with the University of Kenya in Nairobi, and then also at the International Research Center, Potato Research Center in that same city. And the results of these trials, even on farmers' fields or farms, were very outstanding, that this British national by the name of Nick Moon, unfortunately the Lord took him about 3 months ago because of cancer of the blood.
Oh, sorry about
And
that. He was based in Kenya?
He was based in Kenya and married to a Kenyan, local Kenyan wife,
Sorry about that.
Yeah, so, the daughter actually is trying to push through with this thing, but she doesn't really have the kind of drive that I say would take this, or progress in, for this thing by leaps and bounds. And about 2.5 months ago, my son, actually Robert, his name, now he plays the saxophone in our church and teaches the Sunday school also. And told me that he said, Dad, there's this gentleman from Zambia who was talking to me, and trying to ask a lot of questions I couldn't pick up, I couldn't understand. He's got a different accent, this and that, and so on. I said, no, and I told him, maybe when my dad is around and I'll call you so you can talk to my dad. And possibly he could answer all the questions, that you may ask him. And this is, now my good friend and brother, Mr. Lungo Christopher Boale, based in Lusaka. And so that day when I talked to him, and of course, the first thing I asked was, how much is your interest on this subject matter, on this business, organic agriculture? He says, I'm very, very interested. For the past 2-3 years, I've been really looking around, going around, even in other countries, and trying to find out the kind of technology that I believe would work, in Zambia. And so I said, sir, I want to be frank with you. I said, I don't want to waste your time. Neither I want, you to waste my time. So how much interest are you really in it? And so he emailed to me about 20 pictures of a place which even the contract of sale, for this property in Kabwe, I learned later, where, which has been abandoned or vacated. It used to be a sack factory, pastor, and was abandoned. And then so when he showed me these pictures, and then also the sales purchase contract, that actually he had made arrangements for this to be paid. And so I said, okay, I know that you're very interested. So would you be willing enough, to underwrite, my travel to Lusaka, and I'll fly to Lusaka, So there was this arrangement made. So about 2 weeks ago, as I said earlier, I flew in. And by the way, Pastor, when I was in Kenya, and I was given a tour, a safari tour, and then also visited a lot of these farms down south, up north, around the country, And I've been talking to all these farmers. Some of them are women even. And I just said, Lord, you would not have, brought me here for a simple purpose, like maybe joining a safari tour, maybe seeing, tourist destinations or places, these type things. Because when I tendered my resignation to our bishop or general overseer at the time, and I told him the main reason I would be leaving the ministry, I said, much to my, really, I wouldn't want to do so, I said. But maybe, I said, the Lord is leading me to something, to another kind of mission, because he would not allow me to even go and study in the United States. Supported by the U.S. Department of State. I've not spent a single dollar to get my schooling from my master's degree to my PhD. And I said, Lord, if you give me this kind of knowledge, then I went back to the Philippines and then, tried to...
You were in America?
Yeah, I was in America to took my master's degree and my PhD.
And you didn't pay for it?
And I did not pay for it. I was a scholar of the U.S. Department of State.
Oh, okay.
It was a competition, of course, all over the country. And I was finally chosen and given this grant. So I went back to the Philippines purposely to make use of what knowledge I've acquired.
Amen.
But, somehow I got disappointed because of too much politics, this and that. So to cut my... Then I started, producing these organic products or fertilizer, to be specific. When farmer members of our own church, and I was then pastoring the church, kept asking me, Pastor, what could you possibly do? You've got this knowledge along this line. What could you possibly do, to help us? We're always facing this problem of rising costs of chemical fertilizers, crop protection chemicals, and so on, and we don't get enough yield to even compensate, what the efforts that we've been putting into this. And so I said, okay, maybe I prayed one night, and I said, Lord, direct me on how to go about this thing. So I started. In fact, we have a video that was made, our company video, that my son Joseph, who's now our senior pastor, was telling in that video that my dad, I was watching my dad, he was then in high school, that he had these two grinding stones and then trying to grind, the elements that he would be using to formulate something. That at that time I understood that it was actually a fertilizer that he started giving to the members of our church whose livelihood is farming. And at the time, Pastor, 9 out of 10 came back to me and says, oh, this is, a very good product.
Amen.
So that actually inspired me all the more. And so when I took this trip to Kenya about 3 years ago, and I was, looking around, I wasn't even watching actually the wildlife, lions and giraffes and, you know, rhinoceros, all these wild animals. But looking at the vastness
Of the land.
of the land. And I was told, doctor, somebody in Kenya, I mean the German pathologist in, working for the International Potato Research Center. He says, doctor, if you take United States, together with Europe, India, China, and Australia all together, that is the size of the African continent. And so I was deeply touched. She says, with this massive land, and it's so ironic, and it's so, I would have this ill feeling of, knowing that despite the vastness of the land, with good climate, good weather, because you can plant all year round, and also you've got lots of water around, lakes and all these rivers. And I said, why millions are going hungry for lack of food? So I said, Lord, maybe this is the main reason why you brought me here. And fortunately enough, when I was talking to the chairman, Lungo, and then I felt that he was really indeed dead serious going about this thing. And so when I touched ground, in Lusaka, and then we traveled around, and then brought me to this factory, which, he first showed me in pictures through emails, and I said, we will be, I put all my mind and heart, and the energy for as long as the good Lord is blessing me every day of my life, then I will now, my productive life to be put into this place, maybe as a pivotal point, as the starting point where we would now demonstrate, showcase how we would be able to revive all these, soils that are not giving good harvest, food yield to farmers. And then maybe now this showcase would serve, would be considered also by the adjoining provinces in the region, so that we would be producing enough food. I believe, Pastor, that Africa, or even starting with Zambia, could be the food basket of the world.
Amen.
Yeah.
I receive that. I receive that because this is a great nation. And
Right.
like you said, Africa has got huge vast of land. The Lord has blessed us.
Yes.
We are not growing like America and Europe who are taking up that, but there is still land for agriculture. I want to ask a question, Dr. Ruiz. And I'm asking ladies and gentlemen for your sake, because Mr. Lungo, myself, had a time with Dr. Ruiz, and I know why he's here. You are a scientist, and explain why is it that you are saying you do replace this fertilizer that we have to organic one? Is there a difference?
Yes, indeed, Pastor. Now, the continuous use of chemical fertilizers have actually, firstly, these fertilizers have turned our soils to become strongly acid. And when the soil becomes acidic, then all the beneficial microorganisms, bacteria, fungi, and all this, that God has blessed us with, were actually exterminated or were killed. So these are actually the factory workers in the soil. So that, chemical fertilizer as single elements will serve no purpose if these beneficial microorganisms will not transform them to something that the plant roots can absorb. And if the roots would not have access to these elements that have been converted, see, basically single elements are not assimilable, cannot be easily absorbed by the plant. So they have to be transformed. For example, Pastor, if you're hungry and I serve you a plate full of uncooked rice, milled rice, that's not food to you. You see?
No, it's not.
You still be hungry.
Absolutely.
And so it needs to be cooked in such a way that you cannot take it for nourishment. So that's the same thing with plants. The elements actually that have been put in there that the farmers are paying for their high price and sometimes not really put to good use because there are no beneficial microorganisms that are supposed to work on them, transform them, convert them to something that the plant roots can absorb. And so farmers are just spending for nothing. Okay, now my coming here and working with Chairman Lungo in this regard is to produce an organic fertilizer. It is differentiated from plain compost. Okay, Pastor, if you take whatever biodegradable material or materials that can decompose, they could be of animal or plant origin, and you leave them out in the open, rain or shine, and then they would eventually turn into a black soil-like we call humus. That is plain compost. Okay, this is a good material to restructure the soil, to loosen up the soil, to increase the water holding capacity of the soil, to neutralize acidity in the soil. But it's so much wanting in terms of the plant nutrients that the plants would need for growth and development.
Amen.
And so the organic fertilizer that we will be producing provides that through a biological action. It's a biotechnology. I have developed this 25, actually, I say discovered, because I've never invented this. God himself had invented all this.
Amen.
So I'm just in there as a microbiologist to search for them, and then once I've found them, we call them isolates, and so I will culture them and then multiply them, so that when they become very, very productive, then they will be of some use. Now, I have to take it a little step further to make these same beneficial microorganisms to be acting on waste materials. Because if I have to use, like in laboratories, microbiological labs, where I'd be using pure cultures, it'd be very expensive. You cannot sell a product and distribute it to farmers when this bacteria will be cultured in like pure, culture media, because that'd be expensive. So the technology that I have developed, Pastor, is to be able to let all these beneficial microorganisms to grow in a substrate that are considered of no value, waste material, and they can be of plant origin, like there's abundance of sugar mill waste in Muzabuka, and then I was also told that there'll be abundance, mountains almost of sawdust in Copperbelt, and all over these places, So all plant waste like corn cobs, grasses, weeds, etc. Even branches of trees or limbs of trees that can be milled to sawdust size. And then also, if we'll be able to collect manures all around, we can all take this and then put in my discovery, which is the BioPlus activator, and you'd have this quality superior organic fertilizer that will not only be reviving the soil, but providing complete nutrition for the plants.
In Daniel chapter 1, Dr. Ruiz, Daniel chapter 1, verses 3, 4, just 2 verses. Mr. Director, please give me those 2 verses and let's read them. First, Daniel chapter 1, verses 3 and 4. Let's read those scriptures. This is the king instructed Ashpenaz, the master of his eunuchs, to bring some of the children of Israel and some of the king's descendants and some of the nobles, young men in whom there was no blemish, but good-looking, gifted in all wisdom, possessing knowledge and quick to understand. The other version says, who are good in science. Yeah. Whom they might teach the language and literature of the Chaldeans. Now, the king of Egypt called the master to say, I want intelligent boys, bring them here, and they've got to be eating what I eat and what. The reason why he called on the Jewish people is for obvious reasons, because of the covenant of Abraham. He might not have accepted what was going on there, but God was giving them favor. Now here's the deal, Doctor. When you look at Joseph, it is Joseph in the Bible who started the taxing system. That idea came from God. He had the knowledge to start the IRS of America, ZRA of Zambia, and South Africa. All these revenue systems they use on the planet, it was started by Joseph. And I know that God gives the grace. And so when the master looked for the children who were intelligent and some, and what he put them together, these are the men who turned the economy of Egypt around. But here's the deal, Doctor. God has given you the grace to come up with organic fertilizer. This does not involve the normal fertilizer that we have grown up with, isn't it? And the Lord gave you that. Have you been in other countries where you have worked and put your knowledge to test? I know you are coming to Zambia, but before Zambia, have you been to other countries like the developed countries? Have you been there?
Yeah, definitely, Pastor. Now, this product...
And we should make clear this. This is your knowledge, which God revealed to you. Yes, talk about other nations.
Right. Now, currently we're exporting this product from my country to about 15 countries all over. Asia, including China, the Middle East, Australia, New Zealand, and for some time, we're also sending some to California and then Mexico. And but then it had to stop because the Environment Protection Agency was so strict when I declared, that the goods contained some bacteria. Then they just said, no part of us, no part. We cannot take any bacteria around, especially from foreign lands. So anyway, I would like to mention some areas where we did some quite outstanding work, and results were very, I would even say, Pastor, miraculous to some extent. Now, in the Middle East, for example, at the time I started some work in Saudi Arabia, then onwards to Oman and adjoining places there. That I was instrumental, modesty aside, converting hundreds or thousands of hectares of land, desert land, where not even a single weed is growing, turning them into productive farmlands.
Which country was it?
In Saudi Arabia.
In Saudi Arabia.
Saudi Arabia.
So you turned the
desert,
into a productive land.
Farmland. Now, if you'd have a chance, Pastor, to visit the Saudi Arabia, and when you're landing either in Dhahran, in Riyadh, or in Jeddah, you'd see all these round patches of green, patches of light right on the center of a vast desert. That was my, I was behind it. Planting wheat, planting feed grains, roughage for animal feeds, alfalfa, assorted vegetables in some areas. I was instrumental in making Saudi Arabia self-sufficient in eggs, in poultry, broiler. These are some of the things that I've done. Then, starting the year 2000 thereabouts, for a period of 10 years, 2010, I was in China, and there was this place. We started in some other provinces, but I would like to mention one particular place where it's quite telling. Heilongjiang is the province. Now, the central government of China, based in Beijing, look for the best minds that they can find. The best minds, best scientists.
The best scientists in China.
In China. And they have selected about 7 or 8 of these great minds, And they were given a marching order to develop a technology wherein they would be able to grow trees that would withstand the harsh winter of temperatures, ranging from minus 45, minus 50 degrees Celsius. So I was even astounded when when the work was awesome, when these scientists were able to grow trees, that they now call biophonics tree culture, growing roots on one end and then growing leaves on the other end, about 3 meters long.
Growing what?
Roots on one end. They cut the limbs of trees or branches of this hardwood, winter-resistant trees, and they would, they have some form concoction that they would dip this wood so that it would start to grow roots, and then leaves on the other end. And they will now condition these trees to be growing in the nursery for about a year on a ton of topsoil. And so they would now they planted these trees starting with that province, Heilongjiang province. This is northeasternmost province of China, about 5-6 times the size of the Philippines.
5-6
times the size of the Philippines.
The whole country?
No, just that province.
Yeah, okay.
And the problem was, with that hectares that they have, actually about 70-75% are barren.
My goodness.
Useless. Nothing grows. So the central government told the scientists to grow these trees so that they can now plant, starting with that province, going west to Afghanistan, Russia even, so that when the snow or ice from Siberia and Mongolia would be melting, and now we are getting these cold fronts from December to February in the Philippines, so that they cannot protect actually crops that they've been there losing yearly, millions worth of crops, that die because of frostbites, because of the very low temperature. So the central government wants the scientists to be able to grow trees so that they can now be planted to act as windbreak. But for 8 years that they've been doing it to no avail.
So those scientists, they failed.
Yeah, they planted these trees in spring. It would grow through summer and fall or autumn, but die in winter. Until they learn, Pastor, of this organic fertilizer we are producing in Harbin, that's the capital city of Heilongjiang province. And then they took this fertilizer, put 25 kilos per hole that they make, and planted these trees. Now these trees are about 10-year-old trees. They're growing 80, 90 feet high. And the good thing is when they were able to create these windbreaks, I told them now to plant, or whatever crops that they would want. So they planted all these sorted vegetables, potatoes, soybeans, and so on. Now, 3 years ago, there's a few regiments of their army. They have about 200 million, army the size of China, 200 million.
200 million.
Chinese, yeah. So some regiments were sent to Heilongjiang province, all right, to convert barren land using this organic fertilizer. 7 million hectares of soybean plantation.
7 million.
Hectares, yeah, of soybean plantation. And the the Zambian soil, as I see it, would be much better than that barren soil in Heilongjiang province. And you don't have a harsh weather. You have so much of water. Why can't we do it, So I believe with God's leading, we'll be able to turn all this non-productive, vast land of Zambia and later on the neighboring countries in the region, so that Africa now becomes a food basket of the world.
This is why God used Mr. Lungo to bring you to Zambia.
Yeah.
And now my brother Lungo brings you to me. You connect. This is partnership of greatness.
Right.
Where Zambia has to be a great nation.
Yes. Right. Exactly, Pastor. That evening in my hotel room, I told you this meeting is providential.
Yes.
I mean, it's not.
You said so when I came to visit.
It did not happen just like that,
No.
Yeah, we're of course appreciative of my chairman, Mr. Lungo, to pave the way for us to cross paths, to meet. And with this, you can always, maybe as we are trying to do this, maybe within 2-3 months, you would be seeing something from time to time, development that would start in Kabwe, and then would now be, this product as we are producing it would now be used to several areas. And then it will be worthwhile telling all the Zambian people, we have got something here now, so we could now even, Mr. Lungos told me that he is setting up a university for this purpose. And I said, oh yeah, that's good. We'll have some kind of an exchange program. We focus. We're not really offering like 4 or 5 degree courses, but maybe specialize on a 6 months training, 1 month training for farmers or whoever interested parties, so that they'd be able to learn this, how to produce crops, how to produce animals, how to produce fish, how to produce everything.
I will be the first student.
Okay, we would love to have you as a first graduate.
I will be the first student. Now, Dr. Ruiz, I believe that by the special grace of God, God did not give you this knowledge for nothing. The scriptures that we read in Daniel, the Bible says, the king asked the master to say, bring the children of Israel who had 10 times better. They should be 10 times better. Now you can see the top of the cream of scientists in China. They couldn't come up with that. But you go and teach China, which is a superpower, and this is what God can do.
Yeah.
And when we tell people there, you are a pastor, and God takes you to this now, which is going to be a leading revelation to the world.
Yeah.
This is what I call partnership of greatness, because when a person agrees to be used by God, and I've said to people that the greatest blessing that you can have from God is not boxes of money. Even if God brings boxes of money, that would not be good for you. But the greatest idea, the greatest wealth ideas. And that's what God gave you. Because even the lecturers who taught you in university in America, they don't have what you have.
Yes, Pastor.
And in Philippines, the other scientists don't have what you have. But God gives you this revelation. You become a Joseph of fertilizer. You know, in this world.
Yeah,
we
God
are
be praised, you know, and then, praise God. God be
I'm
praised.
telling you. So I am so happy, Mr. Dr. Ruiz, that you came to Zambia through the research of my brother Lungo. It took him some time to actually fish you out through the internet. But God was leading him that you come. And you also appear on Camnet TV so that the Zambians out there could know that God can bless people. Now, let me look in that camera and address our dear president and his cabinet, and also the leaders of Zambia. And because we are streaming on Facebook and on YouTube, we want to let Africa know. When we talk about partnership of greatness, this is the greatness we talk about. You see, Zambia is endowed with mineral resources. We have copper, we have gold, we have diamonds, we have a lot of things.
Right.
But you see, the greatest wealth man can have is the crops, because we don't eat copper.
That's right, yeah.
They sell copper, then it comes back here, we get that money and plant, but every Zambian needs food.
Right.
If we can turn the deserts of the province of
Saudi Arabia.
No, not
and,
Saudi
China.
Arabia. No,
Oh,
not China.
You mean referring to
Southern province in
yeah.
Zambia.
Yes.
I'm concerned
yes.
for my own
Right,
nation.
Yes.
You see, it doesn't rain so much in southern province. There is a vast land. If we can take that knowledge and put it there, and the God that we save brings the rain in northern province, Muchinga province, western province, and all this, I believe, like you said, that Zambia will, not that it can, but Zambia will be a breadbasket for not only this nation, but for Malawi, South Africa.
Right.
People can import from here. You've been to Israel.
That's right.
You've been to Israel.
No, not yet. My whole family actually had a tour there. I'd never had a chance,
You know, Israel is a small,
yeah.
tiny country.
Right, but
I don't know it can go in Zambia more than 10 times, I believe.
Yes, yeah.
10, 15 times.
Maybe more, yes.
But you can imagine Israel produces more crops, more flowers,
that's right,
more tomatoes, more everything into Europe. And they are turning their small country into a production center for billions of dollars into Europe. So if Israel, a small country, can generate billions of dollars, why can't Zambia
do it? Yes.
Why can't Africa do it? And these are the problems that I have. And to our team Camnet there, now they are beginning to understand why I brought you here. They are beginning to understand that this is partnership of greatness. We're going to take some 5-10 minutes just on break so that you cool down, and we are going to ask our people there to make some phone calls and ask. This is an opportunity for Zambia. And when we say partnership of greatness, Mr. Lungo, yourself, myself, and the government of Zambia, we partner together.
That's right.
We shall be a great nation.
That's right, yes.
And we talk about greatness. This is greatness.
In
and through agriculture, Dr. Ruiz, correct me if I'm wrong.
No, right, you're right.
Do you think Zambia can export into billions of dollars?
Yes, definitely.
Do we need to beg from other nations?
No way. Yeah. Food, a lot of food can be produced in Zambia. Once we turn all these non-productive lands.
Yeah.
Make them productive. We will have surpluses here and there,
We are going to ask Mr. Lungo and myself who will see the president. You cease to be a Filipino. You'll be a Zambian. May God bless you.
Thank you.
We will see you, Team Camnet, after the break. May the Lord bless you.
Yeah.
Zambia is coming alive to the reality of the truth of the gospel.
So some of you, what stops you from being in charge of your life?
Lives are being transformed and impacted by Jehovah through the uncompromising delivery of His word.
For a long time, you go through a lot of things, a lot of rubbish, and you accept that, but it takes one day.
Let's teach them good values so that as they grow, they start raising their own children. They will fall on good principles.
Every Sunday morning and evening, Pastors Victoria and Moses Chiluba have joined thousands of preachers by informing, educating, and demonstrating God's word. Week after week, join the people destined for greatness at the Healing Word Ministries International in Ibex Hill, Osaka. Morning service, 9 hours to 12 hours. Evening service, 16:30 hours to 18 hours. Make a date with us, and God bless you.
They shall walk and never be afraid.
Welcome back to this National Matters, dear Camnet TV viewers. I must say that by the special grace of God, we decided to run the whole program of Dr. Ruiz. You see, Mr. Lungo, the nation needs this information.
The nation needs to learn about this information.
Not just to learn, we need to have this fertilizer by all means. Welcome, TV viewers. Let me just open the lines immediately. I know we are coming into news time, but we decided to run this. Like I've always said, my wife and I are passionate about our country. And those of you that that think that Zambia is going down, it's not going down. The Lord is blessing us, and we are going to be one of the great nations on this planet. I am so grateful. I am so grateful to God. By the special grace of God, we are going to take the phone calls, and I must say that each one of you, wherever you are watching us from, I must say that by the special grace of God, this nation will bounce back economically, financially. It will bounce back in every single way. All it takes is for all of us Zambians, to get involved. Mr. Lungo, you know Zambia can only be developed by Zambians. Any other investor, they are not developing our nation. They are interested in our money.
In our money.
I always say that.
And our natural resources.
So once we realize that, dear Camnet TV viewers, it will be very important. I'm not an advocate of putting our trust into other countries that they will come and develop our nation. If we don't develop it as Zambians, if we don't have the passion to develop this nation, nobody will.
No one can do it for us.
Absolutely. The lines are open. We will take a few minutes. I know we are into news time, but because of what the product we wanted to show you, that this man helped Saudi Arabia, he helped China, is helping many countries, and by the special grace of God, is ready, and we are ready to set up a plant in Zambia instead of importing. Please give us the phone calls, and Mr. Director, if there are messages, let me take them so that one after another we take them back to back because of time. And if we don't finish, we will let you know. Of course, tomorrow my wife and I will be in the studio talking about the castor oil that has been actualized. Now, dear Zambia, as we always said, we will tell you everything will be public. Hello, good evening.
Good evening, Pastor Silva.
How are you, sir?
How are you?
Permanently blessed. Who is calling and where are you calling us from?
This is Brian Malambo.
Brian Malambo, you have just greeted me and not my guest, Mr. Lungo.
How are you, Dr. Lungo?
I'm all thanks. I'm blessed. I'm not doctor. I'm a Mr. Lungo.
Oh, okay.
Lungo Boale.
All right.
Where are you calling us from, Brian?
I'm calling from Florida.
You sound so clear. Please go ahead and speak to the nation.
Yes. I am an extension officer under Florida District.
Yes.
And I'm trying to find out about the seminar. Are we also invited to attend the seminar? Maybe only those who are not into formal employment.
Well, you see, Brian, it will help us, Camnet TV and Life Brand Zambia. We want to be professional.
Okay.
You, as an extension officer, you have the knowledge which Pastor Chiluba doesn't have. So if we train you here how to take care of castor, I know you've already got the knowledge, but if we train you here, you'll be able to help us in Mufrira instead of Pastor Chiluba and Campbell with all these professors to come there. We'll depend on you.
Okay.
So if you can, please do. And of course, there will be a fee to it. And like we have said, it's just an example. I'm to get the full details tomorrow, but I'll give you an example, Brian. If, say, I'm not saying this is what you pay.
Okay.
If, say, we say, okay, for extension officers, you are going to pay 5,000 kwacha. That 5,000 may look big, But imagine if you have the people in Mufriland, all those people with farms, whatever they are going to pay, by and large, will come to you. So that money that they are going to say, pay this, it will come to you within the first week. We know what we are talking about. Every mathematics has been worked out. So it's up to you. If you can help to transform this nation, after you have been trained, there will be certification. You have a certificate from Life Brand Zambia to say that this is a certified trainer for Camnet TV and Life Brand. Are you there?
Yes, I'm getting it.
Yes. So on Monday next week, all roads must lead to Lusaka Brian.
All right. So now the issue I'm asking is about the fees. I'm supposed to pay to attend the streaming.
Wait for the information tomorrow, Brian.
Okay.
Wait for the information. Tomorrow we'll be dispatching all the information that you need to do. Thank you so much, Brian. God bless you. You were so clear, and thank you for coming through. You know, it's dangerous, Mr. Lungo, to just take everyone and be an extension officer, because the success or failure of this program depends on trainers.
Trainers.
Yeah, you need people who are knowledgeable. And these are people who are going to turn the economy of Zambia to a different level.
Him is a trainer, is an extension, agriculture extension officer?
Yes. He's already an agriculture person, and these people are trained. And on Monday, the professor and the doctor and Mr. Kimball will be teaching these people. They know these things, but we are zeroing in on Castor. Yeah.
Okay. You know, amongst our products, there is one product which might be very useful to the people who are being, particularly the extension officers, agricultural extension officer. This is a product about soil testing.
Yeah, soil testing. We are doing that countrywide.
Yeah. So the soil testing mechanism.
Let's pick up this call. You come to your thoughts, Mr. Lungo. Hello?
Yes. Good evening, Pastor Chiloba.
Good evening, sir.
Yes. Good evening, Mr. Lungo.
Good evening, sir.
What's your name and where are you calling us from?
This is Mwaba Matola calling from Lusaka.
Mr. Mwaba.
Yes.
Please go ahead and speak to the nation.
I'm really enjoying the theme of, I'm having a feedback. I don't know why.
Oh, you are having a feedback on what?
Yes, from that side. When I'm speaking, I'm hearing myself. I don't know if it's a normal condition.
I don't know. I'm in the studio. That could be between you and our technician, but chances are that maybe your volume on TV is high.
Oh, no, it's on zero. It's on zero.
It's on zero. I don't know, Mr. Mwaba. You know, I'm not a technician.
Okay, fine. But I just wanted to recommend the work you are doing.
Yes, sir.
Really, I love the passion you have for the nation of Zambia and how your just the theme of everything that you do that is really recommendable. I love it, and please may the Most High continue showering you with blessings. I'm really loving the show, everything. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Mwaba. You are a blessing. May God bless you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Dear Camnet TV, as Mr. Mwaba is saying, I have Mr. Lungo here, who is a coordinator for Dr. Ruiz. And by the special grace of God, Zambia needs not to be wasting money to import fertilizer, D compound, whatever. Kwaba D na urea na PNC. Nama Efu, Nama Shani, whatever. Let's believe in ourselves. This is a great nation. If we can bring natural fertilizer, you call it what?
Organic fertilizer.
Organic fertilizer. We grow in every garden. You don't need this urea, whatever. Let's reverse the thing. I'm sure you heard from Dr. Ruiz. But most of all, Mr. Lungo, do you believe that when we go agriculture, Zambia can pay out all the debts that we owe? Do you believe, or it's impossible?
You know, it is indeed very, very clear. Look at countries like Malawi. The economy of Malawi hasn't got the mines as in the level we have. But Malawi, the concentration in Malawi is agriculture. So just small agriculture, one crop which has taken Malawi to the level where they are is tobacco.
Tobacco, that's right.
So, and we've got vast land where we can grow tobacco for medicinal purposes and whatever. A lot of people laughed at one of my colleagues, the one from Kitwe, the one who talked so much about the marijuana.
Oh, this Green Party, Sinkamba, yes.
Sinkamba. You see, a lot of people did not understand what was in the mind of that person, but I'm sure nowadays they've come to accept.
We will talk about that. Let's pick up this call. Hello, good evening.
Hello, good evening, man of God.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, Mr. Nigo.
Good evening, sir.
What's your name and where are you calling us from?
I'm Euda Musonda.
You are who?
Euda Musonda.
Euda Musonda.
Yes, I'm calling you because we didn't know.
Please go ahead and speak.
May I thank Jehovah God Almighty, who has called you and Mom Pastor Victoria Silva,
Amen.
in His kingdom at a time like this. Early this year, you and Mom, you declared the change upon this nation, Zambia, which have seen they have started taking off. Man of God, I need your guidance. I want to call you after the program to guide me over the prophecy that you gave me, so that I need to know what I should do at a time like this. This is my request, man of God.
Okay, what you do after we finish the program, use that number 0962965883, the one on the middle. If you call me on that one, just give me 10 minutes so that I can see off my guest. Then you can call me on that WeChat.
Okay, thank you, sir, man of God.
God bless you. Mr. Director, yeah, you were saying, Salongo.
Yeah, I was talking about the benefits of diversing our country into
agriculture,
agriculture rather than our main concentration of mining. You know, minerals finishes. There could be a belt from here to that end. The moment you extract that belt from the ground, what next?
And it never
grows back. But with the soil and the plant any species that you can plant today, you cultivate it next day. Even after that day, you planted the same. So you use. So I was talking about Mr. Sinkamba earlier on. You know, what was in Mr. Sinkamba's mind, a lot of people from the beginning did not see it. But I'm so happy that they are very close. A lot of people are close now to understand what he meant. Because the marijuana, of course, is commonly known by snuffing it, paper. Yeah. But that thing is a good drug for the purpose of medicine.
I've got my doctor friends, actually. You know, it's here where we demonize certain things. You know, a knife in the hands of a murderer can kill somebody. But a good knife in the hands of a mother, she will cut beef and we are going to enjoy. So the motive, that marijuana thing, there are few people who even understand that every operation in the theater, Mr. Lungo, for the doctors to sedate you, to put you to sleep, there is a high dosage of marijuana. And if you don't have it, I mean, it's God who produced that. If we don't understand scientific purposes of any plant.
Actually, man of God, it's not even fact only about scientific. Even times immemorial, in villages, our foreparents, they used marijuana to heal those who had the chipumputu, you know, fits.
Fits, yes.
And sometimes what I remember is long back ago, I went to visit my father's elder sister. So I found one gentleman I could call my nephew. He was born from my cousin, and something which was coming from that pass from the Mumat. Yeah. So what they did was they picked that marijuana
and squeezed
it. They soaked it in water.
Yeah.
And after that they wrapped it in a small piece of paper, piece of cloth. Then they dropped something from it, and I think it didn't take long. By the week I was there, that gentleman, that particular young boy, they stopped.
Let's pick up this call. Hello?
Hello, good evening. Hello.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, sir. Simon Sonda calling from Singola.
Simon?
Simon Sonda.
Mr. Musonda, please go ahead and speak to the nation.
Yes, I want to be part of this program. And let me what to say.
Tomorrow we are releasing the information. Adverts will be going through, and we would like you to be part of that. And because this is the castor seed we've been talking about from April, had it not been for COVID, today I'm sure Zambia could be at another level. If you can, we'll appreciate so much, Vamsonda.
I can be fully involved with that.
You'll be involved, eh?
I will be fully involved.
Let's put our heads together. We want as many people to get involved so that we can turn this nation around.
I will appreciate it, sir.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. To all of you who have farms and you want to participate in the castor seed, you have been given a chance. All of you who have been waiting, you are in our data, Camnet TV data. On Tuesday next week and Wednesday, it will be open to the public. All of you have farms and you want to learn how to take care of your own crop. You are invited to Lusaka. And those of you that are extension officers, Livingstone, Mbala, everywhere, please come in numbers. Let's take this nation by storm. And I believe that you who were born for greatness, other people will come and see what God is doing. You know, Mr. Lungo, that marijuana, other countries are growing it. It's a very expensive thing.
Yes, it is.
And they use it for medicinal purposes. But nga mwasanga fyowa pa street fyelo kafuma fye kuchipate kaya mbukula pepa.
Look, a bottle like that. That bottle. They may have that bottle.
For security reasons, we can't advertise because it's on the.
Okay, a bottle of this, like my bottle of water.
Yeah.
That marijuana stuff, if you have a bottle full of this, there's nowhere you get not less than $200,000.
I know that.
That's the market.
I know that.
So it is only the best way is how to manage it. That's
In
the
fact,
question.
that oil from the same marijuana, like you are saying, that bottle, it was fetching around 230,000
Yeah.
US dollars. And if you grow 50,000 hectares here, this economy we are talking
Yeah.
about. Hello, good evening.
Good evening, Pastor Silva.
How are you, sir?
I'm alright and how are you, sir?
We are permanently blessed.
Thank you. Good evening, Mr. Luku.
I'm well, thanks. And how are you?
I'm alright, sir.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. What's your name and where you calling us from?
My name is Daniel Kanyinji.
Who?
Daniel Kanyinji.
Daniel Kavinji.
Kamwinzi.
Kanyinji.
Kamwinji.
Kamwinji.
Kanyinji.
Oh,
Kalwinji.
Kaninji. Okay, Daniel, just go ahead. Where are you calling us from?
I'm calling from the south. Listen for me.
If you can reduce the volume on your TV set before they cut you off, there is a feedback in the studio.
Okay, that we are reduced.
Okay, go ahead and speak.
Okay, I would like to appreciate for the program that are running to do with that truth rolling. I registered to participate, and we thank God for what you are doing on that television. As we are speaking and the government, I think we are getting something. We'll be looking forward to such program.
Amen.
Amen.
So we are just looking forward for the training that will be coming forth.
Amen.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much. We really appreciate it.
May God bless you. Thank you so much, Daniel.
Thank you, Dan. Thanks so much, Daniel.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Director, please give us some text messages one after another so that people don't say, Pastor, you didn't read my message. If you can cut the lines for now, let's have the messages. Good evening, Pastor Chiluba and Mr. Bwale. We are blessed with your program. I want to find out about the caster training dates and fees. May the Lord continue blessing you. Sir, indeed we are born for greatness. Mr. and Mrs. Shower. Madam Shower, Mr. Shower, we want to let you know that you know all these details tomorrow. The people have just made it manageable for every Zambian, and we'll explain this tomorrow with my wife. Good program. May the good Lord richly bless you. How can I get in touch with Mr. Lungu to ask more about the training? Oh, Mr. Longa is not training. The one training is another person from Zimbabwe and Dr. Reda from Egypt. We have got a package for you. Good evening, Pastor. God bless you. How are we going to know that we are on the list? Kingsley Kasempa. Looking forward by Pastor. How will you know that you are on the list? We have now opened this. All of you that we registered, we are now open. The seed is here. And you just have to just come for this training. You have to come and buy. Let's begin this program. Registering is one thing, but we are not going to go to 1,850 of you to start sending messages between now and Monday. Please, this is why we said everything that I do with my wife, it goes through Camnet TV. It's in public domain. So tell others about this. Let me have that text, Mr. Director. Thank you. I want to register as castor oil grower. My full names are Ngandu Frank, Shiwangandu District, Muchinga. Frank, nomba mulesense lelo kawa timwalale mbesha inendi patiseti kwena. Good evening, Pastor Chiluba. What about those who have paid 150 for the registration? They will pay again for them to attend the seminar? Exactly. Those of you who have registered, and if you have that slip, all the registered people, and you are in Camnet book, those of you who have paid for that registration, you are considered, and if you have that receipt, please come. Let me clarify certain things. That 150 you have paid, it is for us to enter you into the data and for you to belong to this association. This thing is bigger than you can think. Then there will be the payment for you to attend the training. Once you attend the training and you understand, in case the extension officer doesn't visit your farm, you will know how to take care of this castor. And when you start producing the money, it is you that is going to benefit. Once again, there is an amount that you are going to pay. So I've talked about 150. You have talked about for you to attend the training here, the teaching. It's going to cost you some money. Then there is the contract between you and Life Brand Zambia and Camnet. That money, once you pay, it simply means you have this receipt, you have attended this, and then you have this money, which is contract. Should you grow that crop in 6 months through the extension officers, after they inspect and everything, Life Brand Zambia will be responsible to pay you for the hectare, the one we've been talking about. Per hectare is $25,000. No mamone valungo. How the world is, eh? What we are just asking is 150. The other one, it won't even go more than 800. Though some of the trainings are charging more than what people can afford in this agriculture field. And for the contract, to be sure that this is a contract between me and Life Brand Zambia, you pay a minimum amount. That put together, it's not even going Valungo to $20,000 with fertilizer, with what, it's not going to that. But once you have that, which is $805 per hectare, once you plant that, in 6 months you have $25,000 unless somebody is not serious. That money, can you pick up $25,000 volume in this economy? So all we are saying is that this thing, it is a straightforward thing, and we've been holding to the information with my wife until now because we have confirmed. In fact, because of this program, I was supposed to show the trucks loading. I was supposed to show you certain things, but by the grace of God, we'll show you tomorrow with my wife on Partnership of Greatness. So, Camnet TV viewers, let's change the landscape of this nation economically. Like I've been saying, don't go dancing kuma political rallies and what. Mukwate fya kuchita mwebe na Zambia. May God bless you. Is there another phone call? If there is no phone call, please give us, Mr. Director, the text messages. No messages. Give us some few phone calls, just 2, so that we wrap it up. You know, it's news time, but this is very beneficial. If there is 1 call or 2, then we will wrap it up. Tomorrow, my wife and I will continue by the grace of God. Okay. I think we will even close up for now. Don't even put somebody, you know, these technical people, they come here early morning to do everything. May God bless you. I've been your host, Pastor Chiluba, and Mr. Lungo here. We have tried to let you know, Zambia, that there are better things we should do. Your last words, Mr. Lungo. Pick up your voice and speak to the nation.
I should just encourage everyone who has been attentive to this program to take up what has been offered. You know, it's very difficult. The economy is hard now. If you can have just 1 hectare, and after 6 months, you pick not less than 20,000. Please go for it.
And that is dollars.
And that is not kwacha, dollars. please go for it.
Thank
evening.
you. Thank you, Mr. Lungo. May God bless you, your wife and family. And this organic fertilizer will come for it.
Please.
I am just praying that even before we start producing, I would rather that we get that organic fertilizer on my farm, and once the Lord gives us a farm. Until tomorrow at 20:30, when my wife and I will shed more light on partnership of greatness. I'm so thankful to the directors who labor from morning to this time and beyond. I'm so thankful for the church members who've been a blessing standing with us in thick and thin. A time will come when you and us will look back and say, for sure, we were born for greatness. Keep watching CamNet TV, and remember, CamNet TV is not just another channel. Bye-bye.